I want you to forget everything that you think you know about homeschool productivity. Seriously, just throw it out the window. It's not helping you. In fact, it's probably the main thing holding your homeschool back. Because the real truth is, the more you slow down, the more progress your children will actually make. And no, I'm not talking about slowing down as in just stop doing school. I'm talking about really focusing on what it is your children should be learning and getting those focused things done every single day. I know that it sounds completely backwards, but stay with me. I'm going to completely rewire the way you think about time in your homeschool. But before we get into that, I want to be super clear. This is not just some ordinary mom pep talk. If you are looking for feel-good fluff and someone to tell you that you are doing just fine and that you are enough, this video is not for you. I am talking about real-life homeschool in a home with actual children, actual interruptions, and actual responsibilities. I am not talking about a reel that was crafted just for Instagram viewers to give you a romantic idea of what homeschool should idealistically look like. I'm going to show you how implementing one small shift, slowing down on purpose, completely changed the way that my home functions. But before we dive into that, I do need for you to know two things. Number one, if your homeschool is feeling chaotic and inconsistent, you most likely have a scheduling problem. And that is exactly why I created the Homeschool Schedule Blueprint. It is a step-by-step system to help you lock in a realistic, flexible schedule that will help you get the most important things done every single day. It will teach you how to finally build a routine that holds, whether you have a large family like I do with 11 children, or whether you have one child but you're just having trouble getting it all done. Number two, if you need structure, support, accountability, and coaching, then the Headmistress Circle might be right for you. This is where I mentor homeschool moms every month on rhythm, leadership, consistency, and running a calm, ordered homeschool that ages well. Links for both of those are in the description box below. Now, let's go ahead and flip your entire approach to homeschool time management. Number one, slow down to speed up. The first crucial thing that you're going to have to start doing is you're going to have to slow down in order to speed up. I need for you to stop trying to squeeze every page, every lesson, every worksheet into your day reactively, meaning without a plan. The issue isn't necessarily that you're not doing enough, it's that you're doing it unintentionally. So when you slow down the pace, when you stop feeling panicked and frantic, and when you eliminate that hustle energy that has been driving you, probably fueled by too many coffees, I'm talking to myself here too, and then you start teaching with calm deliberateness, that is when your children start learning easier because they can relax a little bit. They're not intimidated by mom's energy anymore. They start mastering material instead of rushing through it and feeling confused. You start correcting their math, they start correcting their mistakes, and suddenly they're not just piling mistake on mistake on mistake. They're understanding where they went wrong, they're correcting it, they're moving on. Their brain stays regulated, and so does yours. And this actually is one of the secret keys to making actual progress. Slow down, then stabilize, then accelerate. Set real, specific goals. Okay, so here is a problem I see often. Most homeschool moms carry around vague goals. Things like, we need to get caught up in math, or we just need more consistency in our day, or we need to work on reading. These goals are all completely meaningless because they're not actionable. A real goal is something like this. Lewis finishes lesson 53 in his math book. I check it and he corrects everything before lunchtime. Or Ambrose reads one chapter in Greek studies. Then he narrates to me so that I know that he understands before he's allowed to start playing the piano. Or I check math every day during quiet reading time. As soon as quiet reading time is over, the children correct their math. Clear leads to measurable, leads to winnable, leads to repeatable. And yes, you will get that dopamine hit, and so will your child when you actually start completing things. That alone stabilizes your day. Break big goals into small actions. So if you want real momentum, what you need to start doing is breaking all of your subjects down into smaller, actionable pieces. For example, for math, watch the lesson, complete the worksheet, mom corrects it, then the child does the corrections. So you see, math isn't just math anymore. Now math is 4 separate steps. Each one you check it off as you go. When all of those are checked off, math is finished. So math is no longer nebulous. You are defining what it means to get math done every day. This is what phonics will look like. Review yesterday's sounds. Teach today's lesson. Have the child read aloud. Mark down struggles for tomorrow, and that's a phonics lesson. It's no longer just phonics. When you know exactly what comes next in the steps, you will stop spiraling every time your toddler interrupts you, because we know that they will. You just pick right back up where you left off. Small actions create a stable rhythm. Fit homeschool into real life using micro sessions. Okay, so I've talked a lot about the checklist that I have, and if you ever see one of my checklists, you will notice it looks super long and intimidating, but I've actually written so many little micro lessons or micro sessions into my checklist specifically so that we can continue doing school during the activities that also still have to be done. For instance, making breakfast, or when I'm starting to make dinner. So some of those micro sessions actually look like me doing flashcards with a child while I'm stirring the oatmeal pot. While the children are eating breakfast, that's when we do our Christian studies and our Bible memory and all of those things. So there are 2 things actually happening at once, so we're not wasting time. You can listen to audiobooks in the car when you're going to different appointments. Your life is full? Yes, so is mine. That's why I have to get really good at using those margins. I've also found that it is much better to, instead of assigning a specific amount of time to a subject, to actually assign a lesson. So for instance, lesson 53, okay? If my student goes past the allotted time that I have written down in our schedule for that, well, then he is then going to have to finish the rest of that in his margins of the day. We don't basically just keep waiting for him before we can move on to the next thing. Number 5, rushing is what's sabotaging your homeschool. So this is a hard truth, and I hate to be rushed, but it was a habit of mine that I would rush other people, which is unfortunate, and I had to fix that. You cannot help your children attain mastery in a subject if you are constantly rushing through it because you're trying to just check off boxes, or you are trying to make sure that you stay on schedule. This is why having a flexible schedule that has plenty of margin built into it is so very important, because our aim here is not, when we are using a checklist, our aim is not to get every box checked off no matter what. No, the aim truly is mastery over the subjects, and you can't do that if you're constantly rushing. When you're rushing, what you end up with is sloppy work. You end up with tears, maybe both yours and your child's, spiraling, and frustration. And then that just feeds this belief that you have that your children are constantly behind. Now, your children may be behind, and that may be because you just hadn't been paying much attention to homeschooling at all. And now that you are trying to catch up, you're always feeling behind, and that's feeding it. But let me tell you this, Mom, this is what's really, really important. If you try to push your child to learn something faster than they are actually able to learn it, that is only going to compound that behindness, okay? They have to understand before they move on. If your children are having trouble with short consonant sounds and you're pushing them past anyway because it says you're supposed to be on lesson 7 and you're only on lesson 2 and they're still not getting it yet, the key to them getting it is not to keep pushing forward. The key is to camp out where they're struggling and make sure that they've really got it before you move on, because they never will master the material if you're constantly rushing them to the next step. So let's say that your goal for the day was for Lewis to finish lesson 53 in math. Well, he finishes it and then you check it and then you realize that there is a huge section that he did not understand at all. Okay, so you have two choices then. If you have time in your day to reteach this information and then have him redo it, then you can do that. But what if you don't have that time? What if you have some appointments in the afternoon and then there's an extracurricular in the evening? What do you do then? Well, someone who is rushing and is living by the schedule and not allowing for these little, hiccups along the way, learning hiccups, they're going to just go ahead and push to the next lesson. Well, the wise homeschool mother understands that he needs to redo this lesson the next day so that you can make sure that he really gets it before he moves on. Now, isn't this going to get him behind? Well, yes, but not as behind as he would be if he gets to the end of the book on time, but only remembers half of it. That's when he's really behind because he's not mastered any of the material. Do you see the difference there? Start early and build contingency weeks. Okay, this is what I did this year, and it has worked so beautifully, and I am so impressed with the results from it. I started early in August on our homeschool because I know we're going to have weeks of illness where we can't push through. There are certain kinds of illness that you just cannot push through. And I also know that, we might have a week or two where nothing goes as planned and it just, you know how these things, they just do, they come up. And I also really wanted my children to have a nice Christmas break and get at least a week off for spring break. But the problem is the first weekend of June, my second son is getting married and I want to be completely done with school at least 1 week before that wedding. I don't want to have to pick up the books again after the wedding. So I knew that in order to accomplish all of these goals, I really needed to start early August. And that is what we've done. And now we are mid-December and sitting pretty halfway through with our curriculum. We have done a really good job of staying on task. And I think part of that is because we started so early in the year and we've been consistent. Thankfully, so far, we haven't needed to use any of those sick weeks, but they are there for us if we need them. And that is just smart planning. The compound effect of small daily homeschool sessions. So this is a big mindset shift. Instead of thinking about 3-hour-long math marathons to catch up, I want you instead to be thinking like this: 20 minutes of copy work, daily math corrections, 1 chapter of read aloud, short Latin drills, 10 minutes of recitation. So these small predictable habits that happen every single day, day in, day out, these habits are what create children that have mastered the skills needed to learn. It is that compound effect, tiny deposits into their education daily that grow exponentially. Okay, number 9, manage distractions. Okay, so I've got a secret for you. Your real problem is not that you don't have enough time to get all of your tasks done. Your real problem is that you get distracted from the task at hand. You have got to stop allowing yourself to get distracted and just get the job done. So what does this mean? I've said it before. I'm going to go ahead and say it again. You need to keep your phone in another room. You need to set specific times of the day when you check your messages. This way, you are no longer fighting a losing battle to avoid getting sucked into your phone. You are actively managing your time. Okay, lastly, accept that slow productivity feels uncomfortable at first. Mom, you have to remember and realize that your homeschool is not going to completely transform in a day. These skills take practice. So you are going to have to decide that you are a practicing homeschool mother. You are practicing to be the best homeschool mother that you can possibly be. And what that means is getting a little bit better every single day. So instead of thinking, I'm not even going to recognize myself next week, all you have to do is make sure that you are doing a little bit better tomorrow than you did today. And that is doable. Systems take time to settle. Your children are going to take time to adjust. And you're just going to have to continue tweaking, refining, adjusting along the way. So if you want the exact system that I have used to help stabilize hundreds of homeschools, please check out my Homeschool Schedule Blueprint. The link for that is in the description below. And if you need more help, if you need accountability, if you need stability, if you need a place where you can be around other moms who are striving to be the best homeschool moms that they can possibly be, then check out the Headmistress Circle. It might be exactly what your homeschool needs. I'll see you in the next video.